$3,100. That is the entire balance of your retirement account the week you turn 45, and you find this out because a coworker mentions his $400,000 balance at lunch like it is nothing, and you go home and actually log in to check yours for the first time in 2 years. You are not careless. You raised 2 kids on a schedule that left almost nothing at the end of most months. You have worked steadily for 22 years. But somewhere in there, retirement became the bill you paid last, if you paid it at all, and now the calendar says 45 and the number says 3,100. Here is the honest math, not the comforting version. If you retire at 67, you have 22 years left to build something. That is not nothing. It is not the 35 years a 25-year-old gets, but it is enough time for money to actually work if you stop treating it like an afterthought starting today. Stay with this, because the answer to whether it is too late is no, and by the end you will understand exactly why that is not just something people say to be kind. Here is why the fear feels so specific at 45. It is not really about the number $3,100. It is about the math looking finished before it even started, the sense that the runway you needed already got used up while you were paying for braces and a mortgage and everything else that comes with keeping a family upright. That feeling is honest. It is also mathematically wrong, and the difference between those two things is what this video actually walks through. Month one, you sit at your kitchen table with a calculator and your last 3 bank statements, and you do something you have avoided for 2 years. You add up every subscription, every small recurring charge, the streaming services nobody in the house actually watches anymore. It comes to $91 a month, quietly leaving your account for things you cannot name. You cancel 4 of them. $91 becomes an automatic transfer into the retirement account instead, the same account with $3,100 sitting in it. $91 does not feel like it will save a retirement. It feels almost insulting, honestly, compared to the coworker's 400,000. But $91 a month invested for 22 years at a reasonable average return is not insulting. It is roughly $60,000 by the time you are 67 from money that used to disappear into apps nobody opened. That number surprises you enough that you check the math twice. By month 4, you increase the contribution again, this time from your own paycheck, another $219 a month redirected before you ever see it land in checking. This one stings a little more. You notice it in October when the car needs new tires and the number in checking is tighter than it used to be. You buy the tires anyway on the debit card, not a new credit line. You drive on it. Nobody at work knows any of this happened. Your coworker with $400,000 has no idea you spent October slightly tighter than usual so that a version of you at 67 has slightly more. This is not a small distinction. $219 sent every month for 22 years, growing at a reasonable average return, becomes something in the neighborhood of $140,000 by the time you retire. Add that to the $91 from the subscriptions, and you are looking at roughly $200,000 built from money that used to disappear so quietly you never even missed it, plus money you now notice leaving and choose to send anyway. This is the part nobody tells you about starting at 45 instead of 25. There is no long runway to be careless on. Every decision from here carries more weight per dollar, not less, which sounds like bad news, but is actually the thing that makes people your age take it seriously in a way 25-year-olds rarely do. Year one ends and the account reads $11,400. That is not close to your coworker's number, and it is not supposed to be. Comparing your month 12 to someone else's year 20 is the exact math error that makes people quit before month 13 even starts. Something shifts around year 2 that has nothing to do with the balance. You stop checking his account in your head every time he mentions it at lunch. You start checking your own number instead. On the same day every month for about 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes replaces an entire year of quiet comparison that used to follow you home. Then your daughter's college tuition bill arrives in March, $4,100 for the semester, the kind of number that used to mean pulling straight from the retirement contribution, or worse, a loan you would still be paying at 60. This time there is a separate account, built slowly over 18 months specifically for this, because somewhere in year 1 you learned that retirement and tuition cannot fight over the exact same dollar every single time. You pay the tuition from that account. The retirement contribution keeps going untouched, the same $219 leaving on the same day it always does. Your daughter has no idea any of this required a decision. To her, it is simply how the bill got paid, which is exactly how you wanted it to feel. Year 5, the number reads $63,000. You are 50 now. At your class reunion that same year, an old classmate mentions being terrified about retirement, having nothing saved, feeling like it is too late to start. You do not correct him loudly or turn it into a lecture. You just say it is not too late, and you believe it in a way you could not have believed it 5 years earlier, because you are the proof standing in front of him holding a plastic cup of bad wine. He asks how much you have saved, and you give him a vague, comfortable answer, something like it's coming along, and change the subject to his kids. You did not build this to compare it at a reunion. You built it so that 17 years from now, in a room nobody at this party will ever see, the number is enough. That is the whole audience it was ever built for. What actually changed in those 5 years was never really about the $63,000. It was about becoming someone who looks at 17 years remaining and sees enough time instead of not enough time. That shift in how you see the number is worth more than the number itself, because it is the thing that keeps you contributing on the months when the account barely moves at all. There is a version of this story where you started at 25 instead, with 35 years of runway and no tuition bills competing for the same dollar. That version was not available to you. What was available was starting exactly where you stood, at 45, with $3,100 and a coworker's number ringing in your ears, and doing something about it anyway. Ask a 25-year-old what it feels like to genuinely not know if you will be okay at 67, and they will not understand the question the way you did at 44. You know that feeling. You are also the only one who knows what it feels like to watch it start to loosen its grip, one automatic transfer at a time. It loosens slowly enough that you cannot point to a single day it happened. There is no month where the fear officially ends and the confidence officially begins. There is only a long string of ordinary Tuesdays where you check the number, see it slightly higher than last month, and go make dinner without thinking about it much at all. That is what the shift actually looks like from the inside, and it is far less dramatic than anyone imagines before they have lived through it themselves. Nobody at that reunion saw the 2 years you avoided logging in. Nobody saw the $91 in canceled subscriptions, or the October with the tight checking account, or the quiet decision not to touch retirement when tuition came due, which is exactly why it counts. If 45 feels late to you right now, subscribe. Next time, we look at what the account actually needs to look like by 60, and why the number that matters most at 50 is not the balance. It is whether you are still contributing at all.